Tim Seagull is considered one of the best junior tennis players ever to come out of the state of Louisiana.
I played competitively really starting about age 8 and played national tournaments starting at about 11 or 12 years old and enjoyed playing ever since.
Tim was known as an intense competitor at the University of Arkansas and flourished professionally, especially in doubles. After playing the Pro Tour, Tim ended up becoming the head coach at Texas Tech and served in that capacity for 23 years.
I started in January of 1993. We actually had no facility on campus until 2002. So my first 10 years, we had our home matches at different places, different clubs, including the Lubbock High School. So it was a little bit tough. Didn't have the facilities, didn't have the budget, but I loved Texas Tech from the day I walked on campus, and it was a great place to work, and I enjoyed my 23 years immensely.
Tim decided to retire in July of 2015 to spend more time with his family.
I resigned from Texas Tech on July 8th, and the first thing I told my son, Luke, he met me at the front door. I said, "Dad's not going to be coaching at Texas Tech anymore." And I said, "Guess what? We're going to be going to spring training games." And a big smile came on his face.
Bobby Bank has been best friends with Tim for many years. Bobby has lended tremendous emotional support and advice during this very difficult time.
He had resigned from Texas Tech a couple of weeks prior, and we were talking about that some, and just out of just things that we would talk about normally. And then 2 hours later, my wife had asked me, she called and said, "Did you hear about Luke? You know, have you talked to Tim?" And I really didn't know anything, and I got in touch with him right away, and that's when he told me about the accident.
On July 28, 2015, Luke Seagull got into a very serious accident while riding a golf cart. The golf cart landed on Luke's head, and Luke suffered an anoxic brain injury. Anoxic brain damage is injury to the brain due to a lack of oxygen. Luke's injuries were so severe that doctors weren't sure whether or not Luke would survive.
One of the things I mentioned to Tim early on was that I felt it was important that he keep a daily journal. Whatever happens, you have a story to tell, and it's about impacting lives and making a difference, and to use this in a positive way to impact lives. And you know, there's a story to be told, and you can make a difference in so many people's lives. And he started doing that, and he did it pretty quickly, and he's continued to do that.
I learned that it's not easy. Every single day is a challenge. I learned that it took me about 9 months to begin to be who I used to be. I have a message that I talk to the kids about: finding their passion, never giving up, lean on friends, family, coaches, counselors, siblings, make good choices, be careful, and have faith. And all 5 of those I've struggled with, for sure. And so to say that I have been positive is really probably an overstatement. It's taken all that I have in me to focus not only on Luke, but my wife and my 3 daughters.
They not only have Luke that needs 24-hour care and so much attention, but they have a 14-year-old daughter that they have to raise, a 12-year-old daughter at the same time, and they need attention. And they have a 25-year-old daughter now that is married. And to be able to balance that has been a remarkable thing to see, that they've been able to do that. And I think the other thing that can't get lost in this too is you also have a marriage, you know, and you have to be there for each other as well. So there's so many legs to this, and I think they do an amazing job of that. And they really have quite a story to tell and to share that goes even beyond Luke, and it's been awesome to see.
One of the main reasons we can get the right vehicle at the right price at the right time for most every one of our customers is that we have more than 2,000 new Nissan cars, trucks, and SUVs in our inventory. That gives us the ability to offer volume pricing that other dealerships just can't do. Add Nissan discounts, other special incentives, and low financing opportunities, it's just hard to beat a McGavick deal. We'll do everything we can to make yours a McGavick Nissan.
McGavick.
This is me time. When I'm here, things begin to make sense. My body relaxes. My mind clears. This is where I come to get away from the noise. Everyone runs for their own reason, but it all begins with the shoe. And that's where I come in. I make sure your shoe fits correctly and feels right. If you're serious about shoes, I'm Clay Elmore. You'll find me in the shoe department at Cardinals.
The Lubbock community has really come together to lend both emotional and financial support for the Seagull family. Many sports stars and celebrities have come forward in support of Luke during this trying time.
I think it starts with Drew Brees. We're the biggest New Orleans Saints fans in the world. I grew up in New Orleans, and Drew Brees sent a video to Luke shortly after the accident, and I've probably played that video 1,000 times.
Hey Luke, this is Drew Brees, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Just wanted to say I'm thinking about you, buddy. Keep fighting. I'm hoping and praying for full recovery, and can't wait to see you at a Saints game in the stands, cheering loud, and look forward to seeing you soon. I'm praying for you.
We went to see the Saints play, which Luke and I had done every year, for, I think 4 or 5 years in a row. And we went to see the Saints play Seattle, and we went to practice the day before, and Drew came over and met with Luke. And it was incredibly special to all of us. But the last thing Drew said to Luke was, I'll throw you a ball one day, buddy. And I'm holding on to that for sure.
That's the man right here, Luke, huh? He's here at a game. He's back, right?
He is back. Luke. There have been so many that have reached out to us. Luke met the entire San Antonio Spurs team. They were tremendous. Elvis Andrews is Luke's favorite baseball player. We're big Texas Rangers fans, and he came to visit Luke in the hospital. He sent Luke's videos. Rafael Nadal sent a video to Luke.
Hello, Luke. I just want to send you a big hug. I know your story. I heard about it, and it's just amazing. I know you are a very strong guy, and everything will be much better soon. Just I send you a very big hug and all the best. See you soon.
We've had so many people. Dr. Phil sent a video. We've had people, you know, former Texas Tech athletes, and a lot of the Texas Tech teams have reached out to us. So it has been incredible. But I can tell you that it makes a difference, because our life together, our bond together with sports, that's what we talked about, that's what we did. And I mention sports to Luke every day. I talk to Luke as if he understands. He's not able to communicate back with me, but I know for sure he understands. Our communication right now is basically blinking of the eyes. I asked him one time, I'll never forget, I said, do you think we're going to beat Denver Broncos this week? He blinked twice. Unfortunately, we didn't beat Denver, but I know that he understood.
The Seagull family has just recently established the Team Luke Foundation to help other families in similar situations.
And I think Luke will give you a source of strength and inspiration and help you accomplish things that you didn't think you could.
I've seen lately, since the foundation has been started, Tim has always been a very passionate guy. You know, was passionate in his coaching, passionate as a father. That was the way he, you know, that's Tim. And that was really lost. And I think it's now this has been reignited, and that's been awesome to see. I think he's impacting lives every day. And I know we had an event in Fort Smith for the family, and we had a few hundred people come out, and we had 130 people participate in our Pro-Am, and we raised over $100,000, and we only had 2 months to prepare for it. And I had so much help and so much support, and not one person knew them personally. It's about impacting lives, and Tim knows that, and that's what he's doing now. And hopefully, and I just pray that Luke will eventually be able to verbally impact lives with his own voice someday, and anything is possible. And if anyone can do it, he can.
Tim, take me back to July 28, 2015, when you received the news that Luke had been in an accident.
Luke had an accident, was riding in a friend's golf cart, and had chest and head trauma, and was rushed to the hospital, where at the time that we arrived at the hospital, Luke was in cardiac arrest. And so it was an extremely difficult first 3 days, first 44 days in Lubbock, and then eventually went to Cook Children's Hospital in Fort Worth for 4.5 months. I was in a cocoon. I was really in a hospital. I lived in a hospital, and I didn't really understand or wasn't aware of all the support. But when you now look at Facebook, and there's almost 30,000 followers, and sometimes I see that a video might have reached 250,000 people, it is absolutely mind-boggling. The support we've received in Lubbock, they say Lubbock is the friendliest city in America, and it's not only the friendliest, but the most compassionate, and they have been so supportive. I don't think I've ever gone anywhere in Lubbock, anywhere, where someone hasn't come up to me and said, I just want you to know how much I'm praying for Luke, or how much Luke has made an impact in so many people's lives. And that's really what I'm now trying to do, is make an impact in a lot of people's lives, including children, where I've spoken to churches, schools, youth groups, spreading the message, talking about Luke's story, and hopefully I'm making an impact on their lives.
What made you decide to form the Team Luke Foundation?
Last July, someone came up to me and said, looks like you're drowning. You need to consider starting a foundation. My first response was I had no energy to do a foundation. But what I've learned is it's given me energy. It's given me some life back. And it's taken me 6 months. I have an incredible board of 15 people on this board. We've got events planned. My goal is to raise this year $500,000. But with our events and the work that I'm going to put in, I'll be very disappointed if I don't do a lot better than that. But I want to be able to help families. And in so many cases, parents don't realize there's no blueprint when something like this happens. So there are a number of different ways I believe I can help. Number one is simply emotionally, to be able to help parents have at least an idea of what could happen and what to look forward to. Also giving ideas of medicine and therapy, just some things that we've gone through. And then of course, equipment, whether it's stander, bolsters, wedges. There's so many things that diapers. There's just a number of different things that we've had to learn on the fly. And I think that knowing that Luke's MRI was so bad, very few people will have an MRI that's as globally damaged. So anyone that has an injury, I believe I can help them, because I feel like our situation is going to be at least as worse or as bad as anybody else's.
What are 3 words that come to mind when you think of Luke?
If I had to come up with 3 words, and 3 is an interesting number, because 3 has been a number in our life. From the day that I started playing tennis, bounced the ball 3 times, 3 was my lucky number. My wife played basketball. She wore number 3. Luke wore number 3 in baseball. I'm wearing a necklace with number 3 on it. So if I thought of 3 words, I really could come up with 33 words. But caring, he cared about kids in a way that most 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds don't do. And he wanted to include everybody. Caring, certainly. Competitive. Although Luke was very mild-mannered, he was a competitor. He loved to compete, loved it. And, you know, so when you talk about someone who's competitive, someone who cares, you know, I think the other thing, it's not necessarily one word, but I always said, Luke, you're my boy, right? Always. That was my go-to thing, Luke, you're my boy. I'd be in a red light and I'd say, Luke, you're my boy. 1 mile later, you're my boy. And every time he'd say, sure, or he'd say, right, Dad. And then sometimes I would say it just to see if he'd give me a reaction I didn't like, and he never did. Always, you're my boy, right? And when I was in the hospital and I had just been told he was in cardiac arrest, I walked down the hospital, I paced and paced and paced, and I kept saying, you're my boy, right? You're my boy, right? Caring, competitive, and how about 2 more words? My boy.
Preparing a meal. It's a lot like preparing for a game. It involves hard work, the right plan, and attention to detail. Great food, that's our passion. A taste of Louisiana, handcrafted from scratch. With a bit of spirit, and oh yeah, sports too. Walk-ons, because everyone needs a little playing time.
Hi, I'm Bart Rager.
And I'm Rick Dykes, here with another Red Raider and former Texas Tech men's tennis coach, Coach Tim Seagull.
As coaches and players, we all know that as a group, we have to come together as a family before we can ever be a team.
My son Luke has brought us together to bring awareness and assistance to other families with children who have suffered an anoxic or traumatic brain injury through the Team Luke Foundation.
The Rager Dykes Auto Group family is on Team Luke.
Will you come join us?
Texas Breeze basketball teams, and we are proud to support the Team Luke Foundation.
Luke, you have given me the strength to coach this team. You have taught all of us to give everything we have.
Luke, we are so proud of you. You inspire us all, and we love to watch you work so hard in therapy.
Luke, we love you and pray for you every day.
Tim, you've got some tremendous ex-players here, pro, college. Why don't you name and tell me some of these guys who are playing here?
Well, right here we've got Elliott Telcher, who was top 10 in the world. In the blue jacket there, was #1 in the world. #1 in the world in doubles, and actually we just reminisced about a match that we lost to him and his partner Rick Leach in 1988 in the second round of Wimbledon. Tim Seagull in the gray, the UCLA Bruin, big rival in college, so it just means the world to me that these guys took the time to come here today. This is just a tremendous turnout, not only from the members and some of the friends, but to have former great players that I haven't seen since college or the early pro days it's heartwarming. It means a lot to me. It just shows you the tennis family. You know, we haven't seen each other in a long time, but it seems like we start talking and it's like we have never left our paths. So it's very special to be here.
Being here in New Orleans, it's a testament to the community. You know, all of us who knew Tim, you had to love the guy. Starting to follow the story online and communicating with Tim, it's changed my life. So.
And so you came down from Cincinnati for this event. What made you come down?
Tim and Luke, family. My sister's head injury. It's tough, but you got to support your friends and the causes. And it's great to come back, and there's so many people, so many friends from New Orleans that I haven't seen in years and years. So that's just been an awesome time.
judge the quality of a person by the company he keeps. You know, when you see this kind of, just really the quality people, one after another coming out. Some of you don't even know him, but they just know of him and his standing in the tennis community. And I mean, you're really hard pressed to find a person who has anything negative to say about Tim ever. You know, he's just been a leader and of character and as a player and just as a person and a friend. And so yeah, it just, you know, you attract similar type of people that are willing to give their Saturday morning for an event cause like this.
Oh, I think it's great that they come out. You know, it's a great thing. You know, to do that for a boy like that and come out, and it shows that they have some heart. You know, they're good guys. You know.
His whole life has changed, obviously, but he's the same person. He's a tenacious guy. He's a competitive guy, but he's just a great person, and he's doing right by his family. And he could, crawl into a hole and go away, but that's not Tim. And he's changing his life to try to make things better, not just for his own son, but any kind of family or any child who's in the same situation. He's a successful guy. I'm sure he's going to build this foundation, and it's going to do great things, and he's going to help a lot of people. So, if there is any silver lining, I think that's going to be it, because he's going to be able to help people beyond his own family.
And when I heard about Play for Luke Foundation, and I heard about the event that Bobby Bank put on in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and it was the first of these type of events, it told me that there was going to be a great chance that the Tim Seagull that I knew and grew up with was going to find a way to change lives, make a difference, inspire other people to be able to get through their adversities, raise money for other families that need assistance in similar type traumas. And Tim Seagull's probably, if not the only person that I know on this planet that can be handling it the way he is, and who's going to make so much good out of something so bad.
I wrote Tim the other day, and I cannot imagine what they've gone through. I mean, I have a 3-year-old son who's here at the event with me, Brandon, and I could not imagine going through and dealing with what the Seagull family has dealt with. I mean, they've dealt with it with, as you mentioned, so much class, so much courage. I say it all the time, but the word that most personifies it is inspiring.
He's not looking for sympathy or pity. He's wants to help everybody, and it's not just really all about his son either. It's about helping a lot of people in the same situation, and that's a great thing.
Luke has far exceeded doctors' expectations and is currently doing therapy on a daily basis. Luke is gradually improving and responding to some commands with blinking and moving his limbs.
If you were to look at some of his MRIs, he shouldn't be able to vocalize, really even be awake, and he's far surpassed that. So, and then one of the doctors at Cook Children's told us, they treat the patient, not the MRI.
There was a woman that came to us shortly after the accident and said that Luke had a way of making all of his friends feel like they were Luke's best friend. And that's how Luke was. Luke was a very mild-mannered, sweet boy who wanted to help people. And I remember telling Jenny months before the accident that we have a special little boy. He cares about people in a way that many 8-year-olds don't. And I said, he's going to really make something of himself. And here he is, impacting people in a way that we didn't expect nor wanted. But I think because of who he is and how he goes about things, he's going to make a difference in a lot of people's lives.